Hey, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another Friday at 5. And I'd like to welcome you to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook, Live, YouTube, and Spreaker. Another Friday with a conversation with Brother Raymond. And without further ado, here is Brother Raymond. Well,
Good
hey, Brother
evening,
Raymond.
everyone. Good evening. How are you? First, before we get into it, Katie Lowe, could you let them know the fantastic news before I get into my segment?
Oh, the fantastic news is today all our shows got accepted on Amazon Prime. Ah, we've been trying for a long time.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, yes.
today, we found it by accident. I went looking for a book called, the book is called, what is it?
A
The Book of
conversation with
Raymond?
Brother, the Book of Raymond,
The Book of Raymond.
a journey from prison, praise, and poetry. And we went there looking for that, and to kind of find out that we are booked and solid on Amazon. So now we can be seen and heard on Amazon as well.
That's right. We can be seen live on Facebook
Yep.
and YouTube, but we can
Yes.
be heard
We can be
over
heard on
all
Amazon.
of the major streaming apps. So listen, we would like for you to like and share the show. And please go to Amazon Prime Music and like Rhythm Flow Radio live stream, and you will find all the shows. You'll find opinions. You'll find a conversation with Brother Raymond. You'll find In the Basement with Macklemore. And you will also find Lady Petite's live stream. Okay? And tomorrow, we're going to be live from Hawaii with Brian McLemore Smith. Now, let me get out of here so you can do your show.
Thank you. Yes, and as always, before we do everything, we got to pray. Father, we thank you for waking us up in our right frame of mind, allowing us to live to see another day. Lord, we ask that you continue to guide us, keep us away from all hurt, harm, and danger, and order our steps. We ask all these things in your mighty precious Son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another conversation with Brother Raymond. I'm your host. Today we have a very special guest, and that guest is Miss Marcia Hatton. She is the fiance of one of the young men that I've been working with in Menard, and we're going to be talking about the injustices that's going on there, and she's going to lay it out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, this sister is well versed, don't need to rehearse. I don't have to say too many things to her, but go, and she's going. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome. First, let's thank our sponsor, BST Construction, for sponsoring us this evening. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We really like and appreciate all of the work you're doing in the Chicagoland area, and we look forward to you doing more work down here in Houston, Texas. So we once again, we'd like to thank BST Construction for sponsoring us this week. And if you want to be a sponsor for a conversation with Brother Raymond, all you have to do is tune in or call me at 312-662-2038. Again, 312-662-2038. And we'll discuss that, and we can get you on. We'll live stream on 12 syndicate stations, and your name will be heard, and we'll get you out there. So if you want to sponsor us, please call us at your earliest convenience, and we'll set up something so that we can have you on the next show or possibly the show after that. Well, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, as you see, Conversation Brother Raymond every Friday at 5 Central Time, sponsored by BST Construction, and your name will be there and your address and everything. So if that's what you want to do, please feel free to check in with me, and we can take it from there. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Sister Marcia. Please bring on the screen.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sister. First and foremost, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out to come on our show. And not only that, you're saying your experience, strength, and hope. And we like to dedicate and salute to your husband.
Thank you.
He is, man, I'm talking about phenomenal. Brother Yada, we love you. We fighting for you, and we're gonna keep you uplifted, and we're gonna keep you in the conversation. So, sister, give us what's going on. What's happening here? What is
Okay.
going on?
Well, initially, the harassment that he received from the Illinois Department of Correction
Let's start from the
started
beginning.
back
Give,
in
give, your,
state.
give your fiance's name and all that, so everybody
Okay.
knows what you're talking about.
His name is Kenyatta
Wait a
Brown.
minute, and please introduce yourself and who
Okay.
you are. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
My name is Marcia Hatton. I'm from the St. Louis region area. My fiance is Kenyatta Brown, who has been in the Department of Corrections since 2011. He started out at Stateville. In 2011, he was admitted into Stateville in 2011. He was there all the way up until January 2020. Um, the harassment and everything that he started enduring actually started at Stateville. And here there's numerous. This is just Stateville's things here, starting 2014, harassments, retaliations, things like that. Stateville actually in December of 2019 set him up to be transferred to Menard. I have a grievance here that he started filing in 2019 where they were trying to they were plotting a transfer to Menard once he had a medical hold. He had surgery that was done on his knees and he had a medical hold. He was fighting that medical release, and they actually tried to set him up, stating that there was drugs mailed into him. There was an envelope, supposed to have been a legal envelope, that had marijuana and cigarettes in it. There was no post date marked on the envelope. It just was an envelope with a bunch of stamps on it. And when he seen the envelope and the bulk in it, he refused to take the envelope. They brought an outside investigator in who stated that this was some type of setup. So they transferred him to Menard January 2020, which when he made it to Menard, Menard was trying to force him to cut his dreadlocks. A year prior to him coming to Menard, they had already changed the rules to where they couldn't cut the dreadlocks of African American males. Now, this here is a picture. This was taken by Menard Correctional Center. Here, that shows his dreadlocks. That's his ID number. That's it. This shows his dreadlocks. As you can see, his dreadlocks are not deemed unsearchable. They're very well kept, neat and clean. They were trying to say that his dreadlocks was a security risk, that he could hide weapons or anything. But as you can see from the photos yourself, there's no way. What can he hide where this is not searchable? I mean, you can even still see his scalp. He always keeps his dreads neatly cleaned and twisted up. They tried several different tactics as far as trying to force him to cut his dreads, such as keeping him locked away into medical for so long, taking away visits, taking away showers, not allowing him to go to the yard, different things of that nature. He continued to fight for his rights. He would not give in and cut his hair. And eventually it came out that through the grievance process that he actually won that. So once he won that grievance, he was able to open a lawsuit because there was harassment that continued to happen, because he was allowing other inmates to see they can't make you cut your hair. And he was starting to show other inmates how to start their hair, to start growing dreadlocks and things like that. And so they started moving him from different houses. They didn't want other people that was coming in to actually see him and see that he was still allowed to have his dreadlocks, especially when they were still cutting people's hair as they were coming into the facility. Right here, this is a date. If you see, this says 4/23/21, where they were still trying to because they had made, before COVID, they had said that, okay, you could have your visits, but they have to be behind the glass because you have dreadlocks. This is a counseling summary from Menard, dated 4/23 of 2021, where it says, offender was informed that visiting rules will be the same, therefore he cannot have dreadlocks during the visit. So they were still trying to make him cut his hair.
Okay, let me wait a minute. Let me just ask something, because I don't want anybody to miss anything, and I'm missing
Okay.
something. Okay, my thing is, tell me the name of your fiance again.
Kenyatta Brown.
Okay, what did Kenyatta Brown do to get incarcerated?
He
And
is
then,
incarcerated for murder.
okay, he's incarcerated for murder. Okay, now you're talking about the things that are going on. What prison is he in?
He's in Menard Correctional Center.
Okay, he's in Menard's Correctional Center. Now, the things that you're talking about that's happening in his life right now,
Correct.
these are things that are that he's being discriminated against.
Correct.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what brought this on?
Excuse me.
What brought this on? What happened that all of these things start snowballing?
This
against him?
refusing to cut his dreads.
That's the main thing. He
That
refused to cut his dread.
Right.
Correct.
It's a law. It's a law that
Okay.
states that they cannot force you to cut your hair.
Correct.
They were trying to force him to cut his hair, and he was one of the brothers who was enlightened on the law, so he stood his ground. So for him standing his ground, they didn't want others to catch on because they were still cutting people's hair. But
Correct.
That was against the law.
Even after the law had been placed in a year, when they was coming to Menard, because they weren't aware of the policy changes and things, they were still forcing people to cut their hair. And what they're doing, not just to him, they did it to other inmates as well. They would take away privileges of visits and different things like that to force them to say, okay, you win, I'll cut my hair just so that I could eat, just so that I could take a shower, just so that I could have a visit.
So they violated their human and civil rights. Go ahead.
Okay, so in the process of this, he continued to have the retaliation. There was name calling. They were calling him the N-word, still refusing showers, still refusing to let him out. And so he started a lawsuit that was against them. And it's actually in courts right now with the Southern Illinois District Court. And on January, not January, I take that back. On July 9th, is when the harassment and everything got really severe. So now they done went from not allowing showers, not allowing visits, contact visits, things of that nature, where they started placing him in segregation and keeping him there for 90 days.
Now, with that 90 days, I want you to let the viewers know how many sets of 90 days they have used that against your fiance.
He's now on his second 90-day segregation since July 9th.
Go ahead.
So first they came on July 9th. He was out on the yard. They came and got him. He had just got off the phone with us. They came out in the yard and they placed him. And here's the grievance here that shows July 9th that says that he was in custody, being placed on investigative status for safety and security of the institution.
Okay.
During this, so with this here, they could hold him in seg for 30 days under an investigation.
Right.
Then after that 30 days, they have to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
So during that 30-day investigation, they tried 3 different tactics to keep him into seg. When they first placed him in here, and I have the grievances here as well, that actually states the 3 where they themselves at Menard stated what they did, and it shows 3 different tactics. The first one, they came and they said that there was an investigation opening up, and it says on July 7th, this the CEO was torn. No, first it was ruled out. First they said there was a fight in a house on East House. Said it was a gang fight. He is in West House. He was the only inmate in West House that was taken in under investigation for this gang fight that supposedly happened on East House. After they did their investigation, it was ruled that it wasn't a gang fight. It was actually two inmates arguing over the phone, and they even had the recorded session where the inmate was talking to the one family member where they could hear where the argument started. Okay. They were trying to say that my fiance called a hit out on that and caused that gang fight. Wow. Now they did not let him go. They kept him in seg. There was times even when we were on visit, he would ask them like, "Hey," the guy was like, "Oh, you're still back here? Oh, you were supposed to been released." And they kept playing around like, "Oh, we're gonna find out why you weren't sent back to your cell." They never did it. He's like, "Okay, I see what game they're playing. They're gonna play this. They could hold me for 30 days. Yeah. So during that same 30-day investigation, when they couldn't hold him on the gang fight, they come back and said, "Oh, well, we found a note that you wrote to somebody asking for them for some money." He explained to them that they were asking him, was it involving they were trying to say it was involving drugs. He explained to them, "Hey, you know me, you know my background, you know what I just recently sent out to my family. Why would I need to sell drugs?"
Exactly. Because that was a lawsuit that it's not to cut you off. That was a lawsuit he had just won, correct?
Correct. For a lump sum of money.
Exactly. So there was no need to sell no drugs. So
yes, correct. There was no need to sell some drugs. So he stated to them that he had bought some porn magazines that had penetration in them. The check was issued from Menard. Here's the invoice where Menard sent the check out of the exact same magazines.
Right.
That he ordered from a company, so nobody brought them in. He ordered them from the company. Menard mailed out the check. They were sent in. Menard gave him the magazines. He sold the magazines to someone. He said, "You could go back on this date and time. This is the phone number. This is the PIN number. This is the person I was calling," which he was calling me. He said, "You could hear me ask her, did somebody cash app her some money?" And she said no. He said they went back and searched his cell and found these same magazines that he said that he sold.
Right.
So in return they still kept him under investigation. I sent some photos into him. He went in seg on July 9th. I printed them out that weekend. I did a visit with him on July 10th. That's when we found out what was going on. I printed out photos from Walgreens. Menard always has an issue where they're saying any type of hand signs, they always relate it to gang signals. So before I even printed out the photos, I went onto my phone. I made the additions like emojis placed over the hands, different things of that, so that they wouldn't send the pictures back. The redactions were printed on the photos. There was no redactions made to the photos once we had received them.
Wow.
They held him in seg for 32 days under investigation, and on the 32nd day, they came in and handed him a ticket and stated that they received 177 photos on August 5th that tested positive for synthetic cannabinoid. But the postmark date on the envelope said July 12th. So they held on to these photos. They put on there that they were mailed in. They had my first name, my first initial, my last name, but yet nothing happened to me. I'm still on the visit. I could still come and visit. I still went up there and visit after they said these photos came in with no fear of any type of anything happening to me, because I know there was nothing that was on these photos.
Exactly.
These were actually photos of a baby. It was my niece. She had passed away. Photos of the repast or there. Those were the photos that were sent in. So there was nothing gang related. It's a bunch of kids that's on there on the photos, my children, things of that nature that was on the photos. So they gave him 90 days segregation time for that. So they kept him there until October 9th. And then when he came out October 9th, they said that he also had 6 months of no contact visits. So yet again, they're still taking away the contact visits. And all our visits were behind the glass.
Hey.
Yes. Can
No,
you hear me?
yeah, I was
Oh.
talking to Darlissa said,
Oh,
hey,
okay.
Sister Kendall is on with us. Go ahead.
Okay. So then because he has the same officer that he has a lawsuit in for the dreads was the one that found the note. He was the one that found the photos that were supposedly tested positive. He's the one that wrote the ticket. So he was able to include all this information onto the lawsuit that he currently has because it's the same officer that he's filing the harassment charges against.
Wow.
He asked for copies of how did they test. He wanted to see the results of the test, different things like that. And they all said that, oh, it's a security. We can't tell you how we investigate. That was response back from them. So the court actually awarded him an attorney. They said, due to the complexity of this case, they awarded him an attorney, she's from St. Louis. That was the middle of December. Right after he received the statement stating that he was awarded an attorney, on December 21st, they came back and they put him into segregation again under an investigation, stating that someone claimed that he put a hit out. The person was trying to check into PC. In order for them to stay in PC, they have to have a reason. So they were claiming that this inmate stated that he was fearful of his life, that my fiance is a minister of the BD gang, and that he wanted him to commit a staff assault.
Yeah, that's insane. You know, has he ever been implicated in this alleged BD stuff?
No.
All the time he's been there since 11, he's been there, never been implicated in any of this thing. So now out of the blue, this comes up out the blue. It's just so ironic how they so petty.
He has never served no more than 30 days in segregation. He's never had a staff assault. He has here. I have numerous statements wrote from other inmates, including this is the one that they're saying. This is the inmate that they're stating that told them this. And in his own words, in his own writing, he says,
could you read it to us?
Okay. It says, let me get the other one first real quick.
This sister got her stuff down packed, y'all. I'm telling you. See, this is what we have to do when we fight for our people. Got to get the facts. Got to have all the facts for real. Got to have them.
The person stated, I told you exactly the truth and you tell me I'm lying. Don't know what's going on or how deep it goes, but you're 1000% wrong. Now, what happened is, how do you have a person who said they were checking into PC because they were fearful of their life, yet you put them in segregation 2 doors down from my fiance.
Right. And for those who don't know, excuse me, that's protective custody.
Yes. Yeah. Internal Affairs actually walked past my fiance's cell, stopped down at the guy, so said, oh, here he is. And later on that day, my fiance heard the guy and recognized his voice. But if he's going into protective custody, how did you end up in seg 2 doors down from my fiance?
Right.
So this is the letter that the inmate actually wrote to my fiance. He said, if you want lies, write what you want me to say exactly, and I will write you. Internal Affairs was trying to get my fiance to either make threats, anything evidence they could get on to my fiance towards this inmate. but he had already knew what it is. So the inmate is wanting him to write him something, to write any lie that he wants them
Right.
to tell.
Exactly.
And my fiance,
Incriminate yourself. So that's what they're
correct.
trying to do, incriminate yourself.
He said, he says, he says, what you want, write down what you want me to say exactly, and I will write it. You can't tell me that not the overplay for the underlay. I'm trying.
Overplay. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying not to be booked for what they're saying as well. You looking this way with the real play when the real play somewhere else. Maybe use that situation to get at you, but I told you the truth. They pull bullshit all the time, but it's not me. But listen, man, not going to change what I'm telling you. You telling me to talk, but shit that ain't been talked about, shit that ain't been said. So how's that gonna look? They bluffing. I'm done with it. What's going on? You can write me. Got nothing to do with you. My fiance says, what I'm telling you is they said you told them, they said you told them you was checking in because you was told to hit correctional officer Price by me. Now, if you never said that, then just write that you never said that and that you never known me to hold an authority position, and include all the stuff they was trying to make you say about me. Like how you said they were saying we were childhood friends and you was going to get Twan and me and somebody into it, and how you said East House Yard was supposed to go up. Bro, all that shit you said was said on the gallery that day. I have to show that they lying and cooking up charges on me. I keep saying that tell the truth, because all I know is what was told to me by staff, and it all happened like they told me it would. So if it isn't overlaid for the underplay, all we need to do is explain what happened, and it will kill their bullshit. They 100% use your situation to grab me. He said, send my kite back. I wrote you last night, and this one too. The inmate returned a response back that said, man, on paper or nowhere is me saying shit about nothing you got going on, so someone else could have told them whatever. And this whatever and thing is, if you give police a statement from me like that, then that was gonna cut me the fuck off. I already said if I did not entertain no conversation, that shit was not said. How in correspondence with you? So you telling me to say fuck what's going on with me for you? You got a hella at slick, because I think
Yeah,
dude.
all that slick.
Okay, dude, that I'm having trouble reading the handwriting. I'm sorry. Dude down and you and saying someone else. So now I'm telling you, go in with something. So the dude is stating that he never, in his own handwriting, that he never even told them that what they're accusing him of.
Exactly.
He never had an interview with Internal Affairs. He's got several statements from several different witnesses that heard the conversations that was going on in these days. Several different affidavits here from many different. I'm not going to read all of them, but just different.
Right. That's good. That's good. So that's good. But that's what I want to talk to you about anyway. Is it's sad that they would go to such lengths in order to humiliate your fiance. But what's
Correct.
even sadder is they try to use other inmates in order to try for you to incriminate yourself. Now, only thing Kenyatta said was tell the truth.
Correct.
Tell the truth. That's all I'm asking you is to tell the truth, because these people saying you the one said it.
Yes.
Now, and he had fear for his life. So whatever he did to get in there, whether they set him in there to set it up or whatever, he's saying that he's just doing basically what he was told.
Correct.
In other words.
And they actually gave him another 90 days in SEG. Right now, he is on the 21st of February. He will be in SEG 60 days. The 21st of February will be 60 days. They gave him 90 days and he didn't even have a hearing. He couldn't even defend himself when they
Exactly.
went up to it. And so that was when I started reaching out. When they gave him the 90 days, started trying to reach out to the governor, to the warden. I reached out to Terrence Hill at the Illinois Department of Corrections. He contacted me last week with someone that was supposedly an advocate between the family and the Illinois Department of Corrections, who basically told me, oh, well, he has a lawsuit against IDOC, so there's going to be nothing done. So they're aware of the situation. They're aware of the things that's going on. They're still refusing to do anything. Nobody's answered. I've asked questions on how can just a simple person come in and say, oh, well, this person made me do this and this person said that without any type of legal proof. What evidence do you have to support what they're saying?
Exactly. And so with that being said, I also spoken to Brother Hill and the director, what's his name? Let me see. I got my file somewhere.
I think it's Jeffries, maybe.
Jeffries.
Is Jeffries
Yeah.
it?
Jeffries, yeah. So in order to put some bring some to light, because at the end of the day, you done violated twice. You done violated human and civil rights twice in a row, back to back, with the under assumption. You have no proof, even in the court, it say beyond the shadow of a doubt. So there is a shadow of a doubt because there is no proof, it's hearsay. And so I've never been, for one, okay, Dalisa said the bottom line is the guards at Menard as whole need to be investigated. And we exactly. This is never going to change if we, as their voices on the outside, continue to allow this criminal activity by these guards. You're absolutely right. And what we're doing, we're taking the steps in order to preventative measures in order to correct and change the outcome of that. So that's why I've been in constant contact with these people, talking about trying to get, if nothing else, some resolve in this. And then another thing I'm looking at is too, okay, he ain't had none of this stuff in Stateville. All this stuff started happening when he got to Menard. It's just too coincidental that never happened here, but then all of a sudden everything just started happening in Menard once he got there. So that's a suspect. Then another thing is he has never been implicated one time since 2011 that he was plugged anything. So where's this ministry come in at that he's the minister all of a sudden now? He's the minister of the BDs and all this old stuff. So they're using tactics in order to, one, they're trying to break him.
Correct.
That's what they're trying to do. And two,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
When they actually gave him his ticket and he was writing up to the lawsuit and he asked them, show me the test kits that you used on these photos to hold me in here for 90 days. They stated that, well, we can't do that. That'll let everyone, it's a security of this, the facility. It will let people know how we're doing our investigation. But Internal Affairs themselves actually wrote on the ticket what was the name of the test that they used, which is a Sriracha Nart 2 test that they did. So I did the research on it and I looked it up, and I actually have information from the website itself, from the company that makes it, that first of all says this is just a presumptive test. So you have to actually send it off to a lab, which takes 4 months for the results to come back. They said that there's actually 38% of it can detect, 38% out of the percentage rate, 38% can test as a false positive. Some of the same chemicals in legal drugs and legal and illegal chemicals some of the same chemicals can be found in the same drugs. There's actually, as I further went on to my research, I have found where there was one lady who was pulled over by a police officer who used that same test kit. She did 4 months in jail because Excuse me?
Say that again.
There was a female that was pulled over by an officer in the streets, and he used that same test kit, and she did 4 months in jail because he stated that a bag of cotton candy that was in her car tested positive as meth. When the cotton candy was actually sent out to a real lab and tested, it was shown that it was really cotton candy and no meth. But this lady spent 4 months in jail
So they
because
took
of this
4 months out of her life for this bogus kit that they using in order
that
to
cost
railroad
$2.
people.
This test costs $2 a kit.
Oh my God. And Dalisa said next they'll attempt to put a case on him to give him more time. No, sister, we're not gonna allow that to happen. We're not gonna allow that to happen.
Well, that's what they've already did when they tried it with the drugs.
Right. But that's what she's talking about, and that's one of the things that's happening, unfortunately, with a lot of us and brothers and sisters that's behind there who don't have this type of help and assistance. So they're just putting cases on them, and there's nothing, they don't know how to refute these cases. They don't know how to fight them. They don't have nobody on the outside to fight them. And so they are being railroaded left and right, and people don't even know what's going on behind there. So that's one of the things that I'm so grateful for you, Darlissa, Olivia, and a few more moms that are stepping up to the plate for their loved ones and letting them know we're not having it. And they're getting people involved in order to bring awareness to this, because this is a vicious cycle that's ongoing. Her son in the hole. It's something with these people in Menard that they love putting people in the hole and beating on our people. And so we have to bring awareness to that, and we have to get this overturned. We have to talk like the governors and the local state officials and all this. And, I just wanted to see if I can get the state rep on here. But go ahead, continue to tell your story as I can see if I can get one of them.
As I did further research into this test kit, is these pouches, and you would have to put whatever it was inside the pouch, break the pouch, shake it up so it's a liquid form. So when he asked to see copies of these photos, if you're saying that you tested 177 photos, that means you would have had to use 177 kits. The photos would be tore up. They will not even show what the photos look like at this time when he's requested. But now that he has an attorney, they have to turn that information over to the attorneys. Prior to it making it this far, they actually contacted him while he was in SEG and offered him monetary money to close out the lawsuit. And he stated to them, I don't want money. I want policy changes. I want people's jobs taken, and he's not willing to settle. So this has nothing to do with any monetary value.
Wow. So we're stating that they know this case is bogus, and in an attempt to them, because now they have to produce evidence, so they're going to shoot him an offer while he's in SEG to dissolve the case.
Correct.
Because, in fact, they don't want people to know what's really going on, in other words.
And what's really sad of this whole situation, our Illinois Attorney General right now, I think Raul, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
We're on live.
He is actually the attorney representing the case against Menard Correctional Center. So he's very aware of the things that's going on down at Menard.
So you telling me the general attorney is the attorney for Menard Correctional Facility, correct?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
I actually have the documents that I pulled off of Pacer that shows the documents where he responded back about certain issues being a breach of a security threat.
Oh, wow.
And that's when the judge actually appointed an attorney and said because of the complexity of this case.
Wow.
And then after that is when that it's time to produce the evidence and you have to give it to this attorney. Now all of a sudden he's back in SEG for another 90 days.
Oh, wow.
And yet the same internal affair officers are involved.
Oh. So what we're trying to bring is awareness to this so that we can get not only your fiance, but Darlissa Kendall and Olivia, her sons, they're there as well. And so we're trying to bring some awareness, and we're trying to get some resolve because we have far too many people that's incarcerated that, man, is just being treated any kind of way. And yet we call on these local officials in order to help us, and we need some resolve, and we definitely need some help, and we need some help right now.
And this right here is actually in internal affairs handwriting right here where they typed this up. This is actually the ticket that they wrote for Kenyatta on the 30th of December when they pulled him in on the 21st. And it says an investigation was initiated after information was received by the inmate that a member of the Black Disciples was discussing and planning an assault to be carried out on staff. During the investigation, interviews were conducted, and potential witnesses and individuals who may possess knowledge planned attack on staff. During the investigation, 2 confidential sources, names and numbers will be withheld due to the safety and security of the institution, but deemed reliable due to the consistency of their statements. ID Kenyatta Brown as minister of the Black Disciple Security Threat Group, and that the one discussion planning to assault a staff at Menard. The position of the minister for the Black Disciple gives Brown authority over inmates, the power to appoint Black Disciple members to other leadership positions, and order assignments to be conducted on behalf of Black disciples. Kenyatta Brown is a self-admitted member of the Black Disciple Security Threat Group. This information that Kenyatta Brown used his position as a minister of the Black Disciples to conspire to assault a staff has been confirmed by intel based on the information during the investigation by IDOC. Due to the information obtained, Kenyatta Brown is being issued a conspiracy of assault on staff, security threat leadership activity. He was identified by institutional graphics and 0360.
Wow. And ain't none of this, they don't have no proof of none of this.
Correct.
Wow. So, wow. That's railroaded. So we'll have to get more into depth into that as far as this goes, and we'll have the champs of the people that will look into this as they get more and more further in depth that you talked to before.
Okay.
And so once that is done, then and only then can they even begin to speak on this matter. Okay.
Now, I did receive a call from Kenyatta earlier this week, and he stated that they are starting to do some changes down there to clean things up.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
It's because it's a rally crowd here, and not just here. It's a lot of mothers against mass incarceration is involved, and it's not just your fiance. It's not just Darlissa's son and Olivia's son. It's a lot of people. I've been getting calls from people that I haven't heard from, and I'm like, wow. So they're saying, man, is there anything that you guys can do in order to change the conditions and terms in which our people are living in? And I'm saying, huh? What? So I'm being bombarded with this, and all of this is from Menard.
Correct.
So, I mean, in solidarity, everybody stand in solidarity, and we can get some resolve with that. I do believe that. Not the list. I was trying to see. Let me see if Katie. Let me see if Katie Lowe can get you on the call, sister.
Okay, well, should I send her a link to come into the screen?
Yeah,
or just a
please.
phone number? Send her a link and invite
Yes.
her into the screen. Okay,
Yes.
give me 1 second here.
But yeah, so yeah, I want to real briefly, I want to bring on State Rep Collins and talk about she just had 9 Republicans removed
Okay,
from Springfield.
excuse me, Darlissa M. Kendall.
Yes.
I'm posting a link. I'd like for you to take this link and follow the instructions.
She was on the show about last
Well,
week.
she knows how to follow the instructions, and
Yeah.
she can end up in the screen. So I'm posting this. It will be posted up on the screen. You have to copy and paste it.
Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna take a few minutes and we're gonna listen to State Rep Collins and on how she helped remove 9 Republicans, correct?
Wow.
Hello? Correct? All right, here you go. Go ahead, State Rep.
How you doing, Raymond? So yesterday, well, I guess let me go back to Wednesday. Some Republicans, came into the chamber, refusing to put their mask on, and just so that I can give, detail so folks can understand what happened, because there's a lot of misinformation from that side. So in the chamber, we set rules that we all adhere to. And these rules have been in place for almost 2 years now. And so Wednesday, Republicans decided to not wear their mask in the chamber. And there is 118 of us inside the chamber. We have been remote, but we've also, met in, person to vote on bills and things in that matter and take as many safety precautions as possible. And we all know what has happened throughout the pandemic, right? The virus has attacked the Black community in a way that was unbelievable, right? And so I know for me, I represent the 9th District. My district serves communities like North Lawndale, Tri-Taylor, the near North Side Medical District, and then, you move into, Cabrini and the tip of Lincoln Park. And so there's disproportion, right? And I am honored to serve this district, right? I love, the people interacting with, my constituents. I'm very accessible, all of those things. And, me coming from a space of, a healthcare worker and working with seniors, and understanding that industry, and carrying that with me in this role as the state representative, my duty is to serve the people and to advocate on your behalf. And that is what I'm doing. And so to know that some of my colleagues wanted to be defiant and not wear masks sent a signal that they did not care about their colleagues, who had to go back home, who have to go back home to their families, right? Who still, take the necessary precautions to keep ourselves safe and also our community safe, right? It was an ultimate, slap in the face. I was disappointed. And so I called a motion on House Rule 51.5 to enforce that rule for folks to put on their mask, and if not, to have them removed from the chamber. And so Wednesday, I called the motion, but we didn't take the vote because we're down there to do work. And because the day is being stalled, because these are some of the tactics that our colleagues on the other side use, which is to stall the day, drive down the process, and force us to pay attention to things that honestly are not a factor, right? I decided to withdraw that motion on Wednesday so that we can get some work done. So then yesterday, I called the motion again because now there's 9 members from that side who decided we're not wearing this mask. and they used it as a tactic to, not only defy the rules, but to make a statement and to put on a show, right? And so I called the motion again, and one of the 9 decided to debate about it because we were going to take a vote, and they're allowed to do that. And so, in the midst of this debate, you have, these 9 Republicans, 8 men stand up. One of them was, a woman, and they use this as a moment to not only attack our governor, our House Speaker, and to just totally trash the party, to make themselves look good because they have nothing else to really talk about. They also use it to break down me, a Black woman. And because in the opening statement it was that, Rep. Collins does not want to debate me, that's pretty weak, right? And you're talking about someone who understands the struggle, who lived in a household with their grandmother who was paralyzed, who, lived house from house, who has 3 Black sons that I'm raising in the city of Chicago. Any mother knows what that means. And, I live check to check. I looked at eviction notice after eviction notice every month because I just was not able to make ends meet because the wages were too low, rent was too high, all of that, right? To call me weak in a moment that I'm simply just enforcing the rules, that is a form of dog whistle politics. And I don't think we talk about that enough. But dog whistle politics is a way to speak to a certain group of folks. And it's all rooted in racism, right? But it's a way to speak to a certain group of folks to give this narrative that, it's hatred. It's all built in hatred. That's as simple as I can put it, right?
Right.
And their argument was that, you're taking away our rights and all this and that. And they try to deter the debate from what the actual, rule making was, which was to enforce that rule. And so we took a vote.
Wow.
And the vote came out in favor of removing these 9 members from the chamber. But we also gave them the option to go remote, which meant that they can still participate, just not in a chamber because they refuse to wear their mask. And I made it clear that, hey, you can do whatever you want to do outside of this chamber, right? That's your choice. But when we're in here, you need to follow the rules. That's it. That's simple, right? And so, it just speaks to a lot of what I think, one, we need civics back in school. 2, we need to talk about, just the history of politics and how it, plays a role in our everyday lives and how it has kept a lot of our communities behind, right? Because you have some people who are driven by hate, people who, care more about the wealthy than they do about, working class folks. I mean, we don't even have a middle class anymore, right? People are literally working to die, and that's real. Anytime you work a full-time job and have to pick up another job on the side and still struggle to make ends meet, that's a problem. And every bill that we have introduced, every bill, I mean from child care on down, they voted no. That should tell you something. And the part that really disappoints me, because I cried about this yesterday because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm inside of the chamber. I'm seeing this happen in real time. I'm not going by hearsay. I'm here. Right. I've always been open. I've always been transparent. I can't be no other way, right? To face racism head on is a constant reminder that if we don't have these real conversations about what's really happening and stop using the party against another party and, the Republicans against Democrats, no, it's deeper than that, right? Yes. We have to remember what happened with the last administration, the Runner administration. He dismantled our programs, our services. He held our state hostage. Yes. How do I know? Because I was out there fighting to restore child care, fighting to release funds for critical services that we rely on, that we need, right? Necessities, right?
Yes.
And he blocked all of it, and they said nothing. And that's why civics is so important, because even if you have a governor that is Democratic, right? And it's all levels of government. You can have a Democratic president, but if the majority is Republican, if they're holding the majority, they're going to block everything, because everything has to be a vote. So you're going to see no progress. And the only reason why we're able to really move things forward right now is because we have the majority of the House, right? They want to take that back. They want to take back the governor's seat. They want to take back as many seats from the Democratic side of the House so they can do what? Stall our state again. Roll back everything that we've done, whether it was around criminal justice reform, whether it was around restoring child care, restoring our mental health services, all of those things. They want to roll that back. That's it.
Wow.
And I don't care if people like who's in office right now or not. We have a lot on the line. And when I say that, I mean that. I'm here. I see it.
Wow.
We have a lot on the line, and we got to stick to the facts. We got to stick to the real issues at hand. That's it.
Wow. We
got to be more actively involved in politics. We have to support our elected officials, because it is hard out here. It is a constant battle.
So
I just do not want people to forget what happened 4 years ago.
So a question came up, said, how does this information assist with a solution to the things going on at Menard?
So even with that, because I didn't hear the whole conversation, Raymond, when I got on the phone, you got to talk to the elected official. Have a meeting. Talk with the governor. Get a meeting in with the governor as well, with the attorney general, right?
Well, they said Attorney General was the one who is on the case.
Correct.
So
go to the office.
So excuse me, Representative. This is Darlisa Kendall, and out of all respect, I thank you for your comments and everything on the show. However, what we are seeking, as mothers, wives, fiancés, we're talking about segregation as a whole. We have been reaching out to the state senators, the Republicans, IDOC, the higher ups. We haven't just started this today. We have been seeking this for some time now. We are at a crossroads where either we're going to take it by force, and and that means going to Menard to address these issues, because the point we're trying to make is segregation of our loved ones has got to stop.
Tell me really quick one more time what the issue is, because like I said, I came in at the end. I just got back from Springfield.
So what Menard is doing is targeting inmates. They are targeting inmates. They are putting charges on them. They are segregating them in segregation, isolation for petty crimes that they're alleging. They're putting drugs on them. They're basically abusing their privileges. They're beating them. They have them living in subpar conditions, mold, rat infestation, spider bites, scarcity of food, you name it, they're doing it, and they're getting away with it. And we are trying to say Menard needs to be closed the hell down.
Well, that's actually that same situation applies to all Illinois DOC, because when my fiance was in Stateville, he complained to the warden about roaches being in his food when he received it. He actually had filed a grievance because he had a roach at Stateville crawl into his ear. So the conditions of the prison system is not just at Menard, it's all the way throughout there. My fiance's issue with his stuff is being set up. He's being set up, retaliated, and harassed for standing up for his rights.
And that's in Menard, yes or no? That didn't happen in Stateville, correct?
Yes, it did happen in Stateville. Yes, his stuff started back in 2014. As soon as he made it to Menard, it only got worse. Stateville planted drugs on him, tried to plant drugs on him, which sent him to Menard. That started at Stateville.
So what I would say is this. This is why this is important, right? There's a website you can go to called ilga.org, ilga.org, and you can look up who the representative is for that area. Type in the address, or no, you go to Illinois policy. I'm sorry, and it says Alderman, representative, and then Senate. You can type in the address to Menard, Stateville, find out who those representatives are. Find out what committee, who sits on these different committees that we have. So public safety, appropriation, right? A lot of the times you have DOC come in there and they ask about the budget because they need what? Funding, right? It is our job on that committee to go through everything that they present to us and figure out, like, issues like what you're saying right now. Why are inmates living in infested, places, and then also the issues that they're bringing up about things being planted on there. So it all goes deeper than that, right? I would like to have a meeting with you all. Raymond knows how to get in touch with me. You all can come to my office to talk about this too. I can help you out on that. But I do think
I've actually been to that website, and I've already done that stuff. All that stuff started taking place in December and January, and I still haven't received a response. I even reached out to Durbin. I reached out to the governor, Illinois Attorney General. I actually to several different state representatives, even ones that was outside of that area, just looking for someone to reach out to try to help or give some type of guidance on where to go. I am not getting any response. I have the emails and everything.
So you're talking to me now.
So the state rep Collins says she's going to meet with you guys. Let's set up a meeting, and y'all can meet with her, and we can take that to the next phase, okay?
Because these are my committees. Because I will have a better way of getting in contact with them.
Exactly, and
so I will meet with you all. Raymond, you know how to contact me.
Exactly. So
give them my address, and they can come by the office.
Right, and this is the reason why I'm doing this, because I want you guys to understand that we're out here pushing. It's not just going unheard, unnoticed. Now, as we push, we got to continue to push. Although we're meeting with State Rep Collins, that's one step. Another step is who is responsible. That's another step. And then the common goal is to get the result, because I don't want another brother going through what your son is going through and what your fiance is going through.
Well, Mr. Raymond, I think the thing is that we have isolated issues or things that our loved ones are going through. Okay, my son has been gone for 21 years at 19 years old. So with that being said, my son has suffers from severe mental illness. He's been dealing with IDOC from Pontiac to Stateville to Menard. The thing is that the issue I'm talking about is how they're being, and I'm not negating the fact of her loved one being drugs put on them, because I'm sure they do that as well, and that's a known fact. But what I'm saying is that how they break them, how they tap into their mental is through isolation. Okay, not only through isolation, but they pin other inmates against inmates. Okay, my son has been stabbed before in county where his lungs collapsed. Okay, so the gangs do exist in there, but the problem is when you have guards that's pitting these gangs against each other, or trying to get inmates to basically snitch on each other, you're setting up an environment for anger, for people, to be hurt, because they get to go home to their loved ones at night. It's a hell of a phone call, which was a mother on our DAFO call yesterday. When you get a call and saying that your loved one is deceased and you don't know what happened.
Yes.
All you can do is take the word of undertaker telling you that you want your kid embalmed, that you want them cremated.
Yes.
So when I say Menard, I'm speaking of Stateville, Menard, Pontiac, all these maximum security prisons. I've been going to those prisons for 21 years. So can't nobody tell me nothing about what they got going on. Okay, I'm talking about the inhumane treatment of individuals that's in IODC, whether it be whatever prison, but namely Menard, because I know for a fact that is where people end up dead, hung, cases are being put on them, more time is being given to them, and their voices are being silenced. They don't even get their mail.
Well, I actually had a situation at Stateville where Stateville chemically restrained my fiance just so that when he had surgery on his knee, their physical therapist, as soon as he was made weight-bearing status, their physical therapist blew out his knee. He called me. He was in so much pain. I kept calling there. They said, "Oh, well, you don't have papers to sign and talk to you about his mental health." I said, "No, I don't need you to talk to me about his health, because he's going to talk to me about his medical health. What you're going to do is send him to the hospital." He kept calling me all weekend because they refused to send him to the hospital. They started giving him Vicodin and Tylenol number 3s to keep him drugged up so that he could not call me. This was at Stateville. When on Monday morning, when I called there and I said something to the medical director of Stateville, explained to him, I'm a therapist myself. I'm a rehab therapist. There was no way that he should have been doing a bite for 1 hour for a knee surgery. That's not even a protocol. When my fiance handed the protocol for that knee surgery to the physical therapist there at Stateville, the only thing that the physical therapist could do was look at it and say, "Oh, wow, this is a pretty good protocol." If it wasn't for the fact that I'm a therapist, I'm a rehab therapist, my fiance wouldn't even know that you're not even supposed to be jumping on a leg 6 weeks after having knee surgery. And then after they blew his knee, and after I called them and I said something about them chemically restraining him and how that's a chemical restraint, he was back in the hospital. That was on a Monday. On Wednesday, he was going through another knee surgery. But if I would have left it up to Stateville, he would endure that pain with a blew out knee that they gave to him.
Okay. Well, I know that this is near and dear.
I would say that it's not an isolated situation, because it's a pattern. And so I believe that there's more out there who have the same similar stories, whether they're a fiance, a son, a loved one, whoever, right? It's a pattern amongst our Black men who are in these institutions, right? And so there are activists out there right now who we see on a regular who are looking to reform these systems. But again, I do want to meet with you all and then have the conversation and push something forward. Yes. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the situation is, no one should have to be treated that way, or should have to live under those conditions.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So I definitely thank you all for sharing your stories. And I do want to move on this as quickly as possible. So the sooner we can meet, the better.
Okay, well, I'll give them your information, and then y'all can set up a date and time where y'all can meet.
And then they can send me the folks who are over those Menard and Stateville.
Okay.
And I'll just talk to them.
All right.
So that the warden Anthony Wills is over Menard. And I have been since they sent my child back down there early March 2020 March of 2020. I've been calling down there. I wanted my son immediately removed from Menard because my son had a history of them jumping on him before when he was there in 2014. They beat the hell out of him. They sprayed that chemical mace in his face. He was removed. They sent him back up to Stateville. So he already had a history with those guards. My son has seizures. So what happened when he went into a seizure, they went in his cell. They attempted to extract him out of his cell. I don't know what happened, but they beat the hell out of him. And then they put him in SIG, and they said that, he assaulted a staff. And that's another thing that they always want to pull is this staff assault crap. when in fact the staff is who is the one that is are that's the staff is assaulting them. And if anything, they try to protect themselves so their teeth don't get knocked out, so they eye don't get damaged. They try to protect they organs from these guards.
Yeah. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this together with the state rep, and not only that, Katie, what I'm hearing is I think we need a show designed.
Oh, I'm getting a feedback from something.
Oh, that's the phone.
Oh.
So I think that's the we need a show that be designated to the crisis in IDOC. I'm hearing that because not only have they been doing it, like I said, I've been getting phone calls all this week about this, about the inhumane, and I've lived it, so I know it's there. I know what's going on. So it's not like it's a lie, but it's the fact that if we got to get this together. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Well, I commend you for getting someone to listen. Besides the public, you got a state representative that you pulled in here today to listen to the story. I think that's listen, I think that's a great way to start. We can talk among ourselves all the time, but when you actually get a politician to listen, that's an important thing.
Right. And the Anthony Gay bill too is it's in the House. Isolated Restriction Act for Anthony Gay. You heard, who I'm talking about. He spent 22 years in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Adolfo Davis spent
to one, and he had some kind of bill passed on that keep him in the hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's become a problem. That's been a problem for decades.
So, so what I'm saying to you, you actually made a connection today.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying what I want to do is because I want the parents of these children and these young men, I want them on one show. And I want to dedicate some time so they can, and I want to invite other local officials, which I'm going to do when I get off the phone. You know I do. And so we can say, hey, this is our plight. This is our fight right here. And I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So whether it be your husband, your son, your nephew, whoever it is out there who all's listening, if you have a loved one out there that you feel is injustice, inbox me, call my number, and let's talk about that so we can set this up because we're planning to move with swiftness and with action because it's happening right now. It's a lot of talking. I hear a lot of going on. I myself is personal friends with Rahul, the state's attorney, so general attorney. And I'm going to see what's going on because we have to get some resolve to this because everybody can't be lying.
That's true.
And the staff is not always at risk. The staff is putting inmates at risk. How about that? That's what I'm seeing. And that's what I'm hearing from the parents and stuff like that. So this is something that I'm going to be going over with, and I'll be calling parents individually and collectively and taking notes and stuff like this so that we can have this, so we can get some real resolve around this because I am sick and tired of going through this myself. And I've been hearing this for a while now, and then it's been some people fight and then it stopped, it drop off, and it's a rally cry for a little while, but it's nothing after being heard. So we got to get some resolve around this. So that's where I'm at with it right now.
Well, Mr. Raymond, the thing is this is bigger than just our, my son. This is bigger than Miss Minifield's son. This is bigger than just one person. This is a collective. Okay, this is black, brown, and different. I don't care what the color of your skin is. It's wrong, and I'm not saying that if you do something and you're in there and you need to be punished, it's a reasonable accessibility of punishment. Okay, a year and 6 months and 30 days of segregation. 15 days. I can't sit in this room, okay? And then you expect these same individuals, what they fail to realize is you're bringing these individuals back on the street. These same individuals that you've had locked up in a 6x6 cell, they have to come back to society, live in our communities, and be able to cope with life.
Well, that's been a problem, and we are addressing it as a whole, not as no individual, because I understand what's happening, and I see where this is going and where it's been going, and that's why the recidivism is so high right now, because a lot of guys, believe it or not, they'd rather be incarcerated than to be on the streets.
Yeah, no,
And
because they're not teaching them nothing in there. They don't go to school anymore. They're not being taught. You're not going to school. No anger management. Just, you sit in the cell for 23 hours a day. You're amongst each other. What did the Bible even say? That idle mind is a devil's playground. But you're not doing anything. And then you take away all the good times. So what do I have to look forward to? You get somebody 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 life shit. I mean, what am I looking forward to? And you tell me to be good. You sit in here, eat your popcorn, and you just be good and watch TV all day.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. But on that note, we're out of time. But I'll give you.
Okay, let me say devil's advocate before you go. You don't get mad at me, but
Okay.
you know I don't care, right? Because I'm a fan.
All right.
Okay, so you want to talk about these people that are incarcerated, and
Right.
you want to talk about, I'm going there because my name's Katie Lowe. I got to put some spice on the show. I got to put the spice on it. Now you got time to think about this because you will see me again. Check that out. But this is what I gotta say. Listen, I understand your problem. I understand your problem, and believe me, I'm concerned. But I gotta play devil's advocate. So you locked up in jail. Why are you locked up? If you was out here doing the right thing, you wouldn't be there.
Not all the time though. You have people that's in jail that's innocent. You have people that's in jail that's innocent. Contrary to popular belief, there are people in there that's innocent. And I don't care what you went to jail for. You don't get the right to treat me like I'm an animal.
I agree with you that 100%. But if you hadn't been doing the right thing, you wouldn't have been locked up. So
maybe so. But I feel
always true, because
exactly.
A young man,
we can't all agree on one thing. You gotta put a monkey wrench in it.
Right, but we have to have we have to have the clarity on what's going on. A lot of our young men are being, like they said, not just targeted inside, but we have been targeted on the outside for so long. And the amount of evidence they had was so false. That's why the John Burrs case, where all the people in John Burrs had locked up, I was one of them. Only difference between me was I didn't sign. Everybody else was beaten to submission, and they signed false statements against their own self. I didn't sign. And so this is some of the things that's going on right now. And we have like 3 or 4 brothers in court right now who will be coming home for that. And then this is the exposure of what you were talking about, Katie Lowe, as far as getting in trouble. Okay, yeah, you get in trouble, you do the crime, you do the time. We're not saying that. We're talking about the extensive time of these cases, and we talking about the deplorable conditions in which they live in, and how they treat our loved ones while incarcerated. This is the thing that we're talking about, because we want to make clear, no, we're not making no excuses for our loved ones. If they did wrong, they did wrong, but they need to be treated like humans, and not like animals, because what they're doing now is they're locking us up and throwing away the key. And then they feeding us to the same scraps like back in slavery.
Well, I want you to read. You ain't got to read it today, but I want you to take the 13th Amendment.
I already know that. I broke it down, baby. I broke it down. But you involuntarily put yourself into slavery when you do that, when you commit that act. But also in the 14th Amendment, it states that every man and woman should be treated constitutionally as if, not to be treated like
they put that loophole in the 13th Amendment.
Just like that. Right. So that's the whole thing. But that's the thing that we're aware of, and they got mad because we figured it out. Because it wasn't no Emancipation Proclamation. We all know that propaganda, but at the same time, we understand about our human and civil rights. See, that's the two rights that people have to understand. the human and the civil rights. And once you can back them together, then there's no way that anybody can go against what you're saying. And everything, long as you can back it up, like Sister Hatton and Sister Kendall have about their loved ones, then they have to take action on these cases because there's nothing else to be said. This is a violation, a direct violation of their human and civil rights, and we have to act on it, but we have to act on it in a holistic approach. And once we come at the holistic approach, then we'll get the resolve that we're looking for, because without that, there will be no resolve, because they'll try to play the divide and conquer game. And that's some of the things that I've been wondering and I've been studying on, and I have paperwork right here that I'm doing now, because I understand that. Because the young man said, yeah, I had a murder case, but it was actually self-defense. It wasn't like I went out and just killed nobody. It was my life for their life. So he got the upper hand on the gentleman who was trying to kill him, but they wanted to make him look like he was a mass murderer, when in fact, if you look at play the whole picture out, hell, I'm supposed to stand there and let you kill me? No.
Well,
So,
I just said that because I have a feeling that this conversation may get bigger than what it is.
Oh, it is. It is.
And when it gets bigger, there's always going to be that advocate over there.
Oh, yeah, but the whole thing is this.
Okay, all right, my sister. All right.
What I'm saying is,
so you gotta be prepared.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and sharp as an axe, and that's why I got this paperwork right here.
Yeah,
you
gotta be.
But you know what, Miss Katie, the thing is here is my thing is I never, if you did wrong, and listen, I'm a true believer in that. You did wrong, you go to jail, you do your time. Okay, but the scales are not in our favor. When I say that, I mean, whereas our kids can get 50, 60 years with no redemption, you will give this Caucasian kid a slap on the wrist, they get 3 years and they get to come home. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Just like they did the police officer, they killed Quan McDonald.
Exactly.
Just like they did the female, they killed, what's the young man's name?
Dwight. Yeah.
2 years. And I guarantee you, she'll go to jail and stay. She might dress up, dress in
and dress out.
And dress out. She's not going, listen, you never seen that Van Dyke, you never seen him in no jail. Who knows where they take him to? I don't know. But my thing is
at home every night.
Yeah, my thing is though, like, for the people, and I'm like I said, this is bigger than my son. This is bigger because I know a lot of these young men in there, and they don't have Marcia voice. They don't have a Marcia. They don't have a Darlisa. They don't have a Raymond. They don't have nobody advocating for them. Okay, nobody's listening to them. They can write letters. People, they write thousands of letters. They go on deaf ears. And yeah, I'm not saying you do the crime, you do the time, but you got to be able to come out and be able to do your time and have a second damn chance. You giving somebody that type. I mean, this ain't no mass murder. Ain't nobody. I'm not talking about somebody that went in there and killed 17, 10 people, that chopped their mama, daddy, sister, cousin up. Even they get a second chance. Okay.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people, and these mothers that I've spoken to, their kids have went in there, and I know personally that my god sister's father did 37 years. He wasn't even part of no murder. Yeah. Her ex-husband did 27 years. He did a home invasion on his white family in one of them suburbs out there. They gave that boy 40, 50 years.
But this is what
and nobody died.
This is what I'm saying. But that's why we have to grade it out, and this is why we're changing the narrative of what's going on in society. So again, I would like to thank you, Miss Marcia, for coming on.
You're welcome.
Your information, Darlisa, we'll get with you.
Darlisa, Raymond, if you don't get my name right, we're gonna fight. Darlisa.
All right, Darlisa, don't start no stuff because I'm a productive member of society. I call the police today. So
we gotta stay on this side of the wall to fight for our people.
Hey, y'all keep your hands off me then. I'm afraid for my life, as they say. But yeah, this has been a very interesting conversation with Brother Raymond, and we will continue this after the show. I will send you guys State Rep's information. We appreciate State Rep Lakeisha Collins for coming on and pointing out her views and offering her assistance, which is very much needed in today's society, as well as trying to get a real resolve behind this, because as you stated, it is bigger than all of us, and it has been. We have been railroaded. Black men and women have been railroaded into this system since the beginning of time. Okay, ever since slavery's been in place, because they never knew how to survive without us. While they don't want to live with us, they still don't even know how to survive without us. So that's the crazy. And this is to let you know that we are the chosen people. We just got to unify ourselves, because every time you look at it in history, and people talk about it, but when you look at the black woman, the white baby on the black titty, she's nurturing someone else's child who has incarcerated her husband, her son, or somebody, and she's taking care of this child because she knows that the child is innocent and has nothing to do with it. And this is learned behaviors. And all this stuff is learned growing up in the system, just like in these hick towns. They don't even have no job until the penitentiaries is created.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
everybody got a job. Now,
Yep.
Sally, Sue, Billy,
Yep.
and Timmy, they become guards. He becomes the secretary, and he's become the warden. And now it's private. And this is what these state legislators will tell you, that that's in their county. They'll say, well, I have to fight with them because these are my people. And so we got to equal that same fight against them and get the righteousness and the justice that's well deserved to our people. So with that being said, I love y'all. Ain't nothing y'all can do about it. This has been a conversation with Brother Raymond. I'll see y'all later. I want y'all to tune in. For all of y'all who who missed it, share this. These are two powerful sisters.
Hey,
Raymond, for their loved ones, and y'all better understand they come with the thunder, and y'all need to come with it too.
Hold on, Raymond. I think Marcia is making a statement.
Marcia.
Yes. I can't hear you.
We waiting on you to speak, honey.
I can't hear anything.
She can't hear.
Okay. All right. Anyway, well, so with that said, listen, the show is over. We thank everybody for tuning in to a conversation with Brother Raymond. And I tell you, on Fridays, you're going to get a conversation. Okay? So we will see you back here next Friday at 5. Hey, Darlisa.
Darlisa.
You better come on, Darlisa. You better come on back here, girl.
You gonna stop him.
Darlisa, you got a lot to say, girl. You welcome back.
I mean, I just want our people home. I want our people safe. I want our people with their loved ones. We love them. We know they've been gone too long.
Yes.
Y'all keep advocating for them. Don't stop.
No question.
Amen.
All right. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.